Hey everyone, this is Charlie the Plug, your host of the Detroit Metro Plug podcast, powered by Empower You Ventures. Don't forget to subscribe so you too can be a part of the biggest empowerment network on YouTube and Facebook. We bring you weekly interviews of Detroit difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship, community involvement, also reaction to business news and community news. This does not happen without your support. Thank you. All right, welcome to another episode of the Detroit Metro Plug podcast. I'm Charles McKaye, aka Charlie the Plug, and we are here with episode number 137. 137 of the Detroit Metro Plug podcast. So happy Monday to everyone. And that's something to celebrate. 137. So I'm excited. Every week, we bring you Detroit difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship and community involvement, those who are serving the Metro Detroit area. And I'm excited about our guest today. I want to formally introduce. But I just want to say happy Monday to everyone. Thank you for those who are joining us live. I see a few people who are watching us live. If you have a question or a comment for our guest or our topic, please put that in the chat and I'll try to recognize you today. But happy Monday. We're here in Detroit. We're on a week leading up to our first round of the playoffs with the Detroit Lions. So if you're a football fan or Lions fans, go Lions. So we hope that they will handle their business this coming Saturday with the Washington Commanders. So hopefully everybody's new year is getting off to a good start. So we're going to go into our topic here, and I want to introduce our guest. I want to pull up this quick slide here. So we're going to be talking about why every youth deserve a mentor. And I'm not sure if people know that according to some statistics that I pulled up in preparation for this topic, over 20 million children in the United States live without a presence of a father in the home. And that's an alarming statistic and shows the need for mentors and positive male role models in these young people's lives. And we're going to talk about that. We have a special guest. I want to do a formal introduction of our guest sitting right across from me. And so I want to make sure I read this right. I want to pull this up. So in our episode today, we're going to be celebrating National Mentoring Month with a powerful conversation of our guest. He goes by DK Williams. You prefer DK or?
Yes, sir, DK.
Okay. DK Williams. He is the Director of Operations and Innovation at Big Brothers Big Sisters of Southeast Michigan and the founder of Detroit Father LLC. So we're going to have a powerful conversation about mentorship, the importance of positive male role models, and how you, those who are watching, can make a difference by being a mentor possibly, or by contributing or supporting what Big Brothers and Big Sisters are doing in Southeast Michigan. He's also a graduate of Liberty University, Bachelor of Science in Interdisciplinary Studies, also attended University of Michigan. So ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome to our episode number 137, none other than DK Williams.
Awesome.
So I'd like to start off for our audience. For those who don't know who you are, if someone's asked, who is DK? What would you tell them?
Yeah, well, first I want to say, Charlie the Plug, thank you so much for this invitation to be a part, and congratulations on 137 episodes. That's incredible, and that's no small feat. So keep up the good work. But if someone wants to ask who is DK, in short, I would say a lover of people, a community builder. By day, I say I'm a father and a husband, and all around, just entrepreneur. I would also say I've been a part of a lot of organizations, and so even being whether it's a leader or a contributor in an organization, I always believe that I'm an entrepreneur by my mindset, and I carry that through the work that I do. And so I call that entrepreneur within organizations. So I would say that's who DK is.
All right. All right. So you described yourself as an entrepreneur. You have various experience that brings you to Big Brothers Big Sisters. So I just kind of want to give the backstory. Before you worked with Big Brothers Big Sisters, how has mentorship in particular impacted your life?
Yeah, man, mentorship has impacted my life in so many different ways. I think one of the big ways is that when I was in elementary school, I really struggled with one of the statistics that you shared, that I grew up without a biological father present and active in my life and in my home. And so a lot of my story begins with not having that positive role model or not having that mentor early on. But thankfully, through going to school, I had a social worker who could understand what I was going through. And it was a female. And she came to me and she was like, I just want to, for a couple hours, once a week, sit down with you in my office. I want you to come into my office and share with me what you're experiencing, any emotions you have. And I just remember those moments really shaping my life and really the emotional side. So like I said, I struggle with being able to express the anger, the sadness that I felt, not having my father being there, and even the issue of like him abandoning me. That's when it felt like that abandonment, and I didn't know how to really grapple with it. But her saying, "Hey, come to my office, let's talk." You share. I remember she had this emotional wheel, and the first thing she would do is she was like, "Pick out which emotion you feel before we even get into anything else. Just I want to understand how you're feeling right now in this moment." And having someone ask, "How do you feel?" Or, what are you experiencing right now? My mom didn't have the tools to do that at home. And so having a caring adult who was willing to just interject themselves into my life. My mom didn't ask, this wasn't a special program or service, but it was just a caring adult who said, you know what? I see this young person has potential and I want to invite him to my office and pour into his life. And that was Miss Bodson, my elementary.
What grade level was that?
This was first grade.
Oh, first grade. Wow.
Yeah.
So you were about 8 or 9 years old?
8 or 9. Yep. And that's when I'm really starting to have those emotions and feelings and not sure what to do with them. So having her kind of step into my life, it wasn't just me she was supporting. She stepped into supporting my mom. And then I had a younger brother. And I remember during holidays, she would drop off gifts and support us in so many different ways. But I say all that to say, that's what I think when I look back in my own life and then talking about our program now. They're young people that's all they need is a caring adult who will say, you know what, I can give up a couple hours a month to step into the life of this young person and offer support in however that looks for them, because it's different, right? There's no set curriculum that we give, right? Necessarily, there's no set, you got to do this, and this. It's like, what does that young person need? And can you step into their life, be selfless enough, be, compassionate enough to walk alongside them where they are? And thankfully, I had a Miss Bodson, and I think every young person needs and deserves Miss Bodson.
Now, what did this teacher particularly do to have a major impact outside of just meeting in her office?
Yeah, I think what it was just that stepping into my life. It wasn't just elementary, right? That was, over 20-some years ago now. But at this point, I'm still in constant contact with Miss Bodson. Bodson still checks in, I just started taking courses at U of M. I actually haven't graduated yet. I just started at U of M taking some public administration courses, and she was one of the first people who reached out and congratulated me. We're still Facebook friends and we're still connected. And so I think that connection is what we're trying to do at Big Brothers Big Sisters, create those lifelong connections that transcend time. Where I was currently at as a young person, she's literally watched me grow up, watched me get married, watched me start a family, and those relationships really last, I think, a lifetime.
Well, we want to shout out Miss Bodson.
Make sure.
So, man, there's so much impacted, so much to unpack about that when you were in the first grade that someone stepped in and saw potential and planted that seed of hope and opportunity, and just been a support to you. I kind of want to go into, this is National Mentoring Month, and we're also approaching next week the official holiday of Martin Luther King, celebrating his legacy. As we celebrate National Mentoring Month and approach Martin Luther King Day, what do you see, or how do you see mentorship aligning with Dr. King's vision for community and equality?
That's such a good question. I think for me, when I think of Dr. King and the legacy that he left, was that they were part of, I would guess I could call it fruit of his labor, that I think he knew in some ways that he wasn't going to even be able to experience himself, but that he was, like you said, planting a seed for what the world could be if you make sure everyone is treated equally, and you make sure you lead a life that is bigger than yourself. And I think he was so selfless in the sense that almost he was willing to sacrifice himself, his life, for generations of people to experience freedom and to experience equality. And so when I think of that and parallel that to the work we do at Big Brothers Big Sisters, but also just mentorship in general, is it's kind of like laying down your life to be like, hey, I'm gonna, maybe give up a couple of hours to go again pour into a young person, be able to again put that work in front of, like, I may not see all that young person becomes, but if I just plant those seeds, those small seeds in those interactions that I have, it can last a lifetime. It can last generations. And the work that Dr. King did while he was living has now paved the way for people like me and my children and future generations that, again, he may never, ever know his impact that it had right around generations and around the world. And I think that that's the power of mentorship, which to me is just simply leadership, like stepping up and saying, hey, I want to make a change. I want to be the change that I want to see in the world, and willing to do that work, even though you may not see all of that come to fruition. But if you just plant those seeds, it can change generations.
Wow. I think that's about that, the legacy and the impact of King through mentorship. I wanted to, I think some people may not understand or know what exactly is a mentor. What would be the best way you would just define that?
Yeah, I would define it, I think, as leadership. Like, I really think that that's the word that when I think of a mentor, I think of someone, and it's a quote. I can't think of who coined the phrase, but it's basically like a leader, which to me is the same as a mentor, is one who, learns the way, they go the way, but then they show the way.
Okay.
And I think that that's what a true,
go the way and show the way.
I think it's John Maxwell, but again, don't quote me on it. But he talks about leadership and a leader being one who like knows the way, who goes the way, but then shows the way. And I think that that's the power of mentorship. That again, if you want to talk about legacy and giving of yourself and something that lives beyond you, you can't just, learn a way and then even go the way, but you got to be able to show someone else the way. And I think that that's the way that I try to live my life, being a father, but also, being a nonprofit executive, on our team. I'm always like, I have to exemplify the lesson that I'm hoping our staff are learning. So I can't just say, go do this. I got to actually do it myself and be that example before them. So I would say that that's a good mentor.
Yes. Okay. Wow. So I like that, the how you described it. Learn the way, go that way and show the way. Learn the way, go that way and show the way.
Yeah.
When in preparation for this interview, I spoke with someone who works in community engagement, and they indicated that there was a need for mentors. There's kids in the schools and the community that are requesting for mentors, and there's a shortage. Why do you think that there's a shortage of mentors? What do you?
I think there's a number of factors. I really just got into this work in July of 2023. And so it was after the pandemic. But from what I've, learned from my manager, as well as just looking at reports, is that there has been just a decline. And we've seen this nationally too, just in volunteerism, in giving, even giving of your treasure, your money.
Right.
We've seen a decline in giving, but I think it's all around some of the impacts from COVID, right? We've seen that COVID just has kept people kind of more isolated. At the time, we needed to be isolated, but I think that trend has continued. That folks really are just staying home. They're doing what they need to do. Maybe going to work a couple times up to the office, and they're going back home. So I think there's a number of factors that contribute to it. Okay. Another thing I would say is being close in community here in Detroit. There are a lot of grassroots mentorship programs, and I think that we can't negate that. Right, there are just people boots on the ground who are already embedded in the community, have already built certain relationships that, right, they have started their kind of own mentorship programs as well. And so we are seeing, right, that be a factor too. But I think really the biggest hit has just been COVID. Our numbers really have not been able to come back up and rebound since COVID. But I think to what you were saying too about just the need is that, we have a wait list right now of over 200 littles who have basically gone through the application process. They've gone through the interview process, and they're just waiting to be matched with the mentor, right? And so if you can imagine a young person who's gone through that whole process, and they're like, wow, I'm just waiting for a mentor, it can almost make you feel like, is something wrong with me? Does someone not want to be my mentor? So we're just really trying to double down on getting volunteers through the door and really trying to spread the word that, hey, if you got a couple hours that you can really dedicate and give to young people, please come consider Big Brothers, Big Sisters, because we have a great, great need, and we really need the volunteers. And I would say we have special emphasis right now really on BIPOC men is a really big target demographic that we really need, because we have a lot of littles that identify as such, and they really want to be matched with a BIPOC male.
Okay. So a black male in particular.
Yeah.
So many things that just come to my mind when you're sharing about some of the impact of the decline of people volunteering and giving, as well as it impacted mentoring, in particular, Big Brothers, Big Sisters. You attributed some of it due to COVID. People isolate themselves. A lot of people, such as myself in my day job, I work a hybrid schedule. So there's times when I'm in the office, at home, and you kind of get into the at-home routine. Yeah, you're wearing just your jogging pants, shorts, or your camera ready from the top up. Yep. And then you don't really think about going out as much. But also, I was wondering. I had a conversation with someone else who works in the space of mentorship. Do you think some people don't feel like they're qualified to be a mentor? Maybe because they don't feel like they've accomplished what they wanted to in their life, and maybe they have a past that maybe something that they're maybe not so proud of, and they maybe rebounded. Do you think those are factors? What would be the qualifications of a mentor? Does it matter if they went to college, or what is?
Yeah, no, those are all great questions, and I think what we got to do is really do, and we talk about this on our team all the time, of like giving almost like a profile of what a mentor could be. I think you think of a mentor, you think you got to have a certain education status. I got to have a degree. I got to have this type of job to be able to like really pour in, and really all these young people are looking for is somebody, again, that's caring, that's willing to check in on them. And so I would say the qualifications really is someone that, of course, child safety for us is number one. Safety, so we always are going to do a thorough background check. Okay. And there are some cases where, you've got a history of, violent offenses and things like that, of course, right? We can't, from a child safety perspective, put you in that type of relationship. But if you are, a person that really cares about, being in someone else's life, and again, however you can be impactful. One of the good things our team does is that we do what we call match parties, and we go through the littles profile and kind of what they would love to be matched with, and we do the same thing with the big. And so there's hopefully going to be some shared interest. But like if you love sports, young people love sports, right? If you love going out to eat or trying new things, young people like those experiences. And so I would say just take a step back and not necessarily think about the big ways that you can change this young person's life. Is really the little ways. What are those little things that you could do that could change their life and change the trajectory of their life? There's so many stories where I think some people get into this relationship thinking, oh, I'm going to do this. And I got to, like you said, have all these accolades and be at all these places in my own life to make a difference. And all these young people sometimes are looking for is like, hey, I'm just glad I got somebody I can talk to. I got somebody I can hang out with that's not in my family, So sometimes it's like those relationships will change the big just as much as it'll change the little. And so think about in those ways in which maybe you want your life to be impacted. I've met bigs where they're like, hey, I'm an empty nester. My kids are going off to college and I'm trying to navigate this change in my own life or what this means. And so they then are like, hey, I'm willing to give of my time and myself because I don't have anybody else right now to pour into because my kids are all grown. So people do it and get involved for different reasons. And I would just say, maybe take a step back and think of your why. Like, why do you want to do it? What could you offer right where you are? And be willing to give that.
Wow. I was just thinking, I like how you said, just kind of breaking it down, someone who's caring and is willing to check in on someone. Yeah. And you guys make an attempt to match people with shared interests.
Yes.
And of course, child safety is important. Yeah. I wonder though, do some people get intimidated by the term mentor? When I'm out and about, people don't really know my background, but I'm at the age, I got a little bit of salt and pepper. Yeah. People, younger people refer to me as Unc. Hey, what's up, Unc? This and that. There's a time when I was like the big homie. Yeah. What's up, big homie? Something like that. Mm-hmm. So do you think, I'm thinking like if people are like, hey, the little homies need the big homies.
Right.
And sometimes I think people think of mentor, oh, I got to do this and have to have
such a formal thing.
Yeah. We just need the big homies to step in and check on the little homies.
Yeah. I think we need that village, right? Like that, what is it? The African proverb where it takes the village to raise a child. And I think in some ways, it could be cultural. It can just be the world we live in now with social media and other things that we maybe don't feel the need to contribute or be a part of that village. But I'm sure you remember, where your next door neighbor or the person down the street, they could check in on you. If mom and dad wasn't around, you had someone maybe down the street watching you and making sure you're still doing the right thing. And I think people think about mentorship in this formal way. Where it may not be the case of a Miss Boxing. For me, it was at school where this lady came and was just like, hey, I want to make sure you're okay. I know some of the things you're going through, but it may not be that. It may just be, again, checking in. How are you doing? Let's go grab pizza. Let's go. I want to learn how to fish. I want to learn how to fish. It may be something you both learn together or, you do together. So I think maybe thinking of it in a less formal way kind of makes it like, oh, yeah, I can do that. But I think, that's what we got to get back to, is that village of the big homie, the big cuz or something like that.
Yeah, big homie.
Yeah.
So obviously you were impacted by mentorship, and you share some of your stories and your first grade teacher. What are some of the tangible benefits you've seen in youth who have been mentored through programs such as Big Brothers Big Sisters?
Oh, so many. I have seen firsthand some of the stories of young people who have come, you may be facing certain behavioral issues or academic issues. And not to say that our program is coming in as a savior. Like I always tell people that, we're not here to try to save. What we're here is to make sure that we can ensure that the potential that every young person has can be fulfilled, that they have the pathways to make that happen. But so many stories of, again, a single family mother or, single parent who's a mom with, mainly maybe boys. And she's like, hey, I've done all I can do. I'm doing the best I can. But this young man really needs a positive male role model. They need to see what they can become. And so I think seeing that firsthand through some of the stories last year when we had the draft here, we had a little who actually got to do an interview with Terrion Arnold. Now at this time, it's before the draft. We don't even know that Terrion Arnold is going to end up being a Detroit Lion, right? But just, again, him having that experience and opportunity to interview a future, local football player, that was a huge thing. And I think about those type of experiences that we're able to give our littles, who knows if they will ever have some of those opportunities, if they don't come through this program. So I think seeing that firsthand really puts in perspective the power that can come from this relationship. And yeah, seeing academics improve, seeing behavior change, and parents saying, wow, thank you so much, for pouring into our young people. It is just something to truly just take a step back and be like, wow, this can truly make a difference and change a young person's life.
Wow. So I want to highlight some upcoming things that you guys have coming up into that call of action, because you said there's in the Southeast Michigan area, there's over 200 kids waiting to find a match.
Yes.
I'm going to add, there's some slides I want to show that our audience can see. You can see it on the monitor there. So there's an upcoming event on January 28th. So kind of tell our audience what's going on with this event and how can people get involved and support this initiative?
Yeah. So on Tuesday, January 28th, we are going to have, and this is the first time we're doing it, but we're calling it like Big Brothers, Big Sisters in Action, how you can empower the next generation. And as we speak to that need, we're specifically having this event as kind of like a way to highlight National Mentoring Month, but also bring different, individuals into one place so that you can hear the different perspectives. So we're going to have some individuals who are bigs. We're going to have myself, sharing on a panel discussion about the power of mentorship. We're going to have a networking breakfast. So it's going to be over at the Durfee Innovation Society, not too far from where we are tonight, but, over in the central Detroit area, right next to Central High School, on January 28th, it's starting at 8:30. And so we would invite everyone to please come share. If you're, not sure if you qualify as a mentor, this will be a great opportunity to come and hear some of the stories firsthand. And then, get more information from some of our staff will be on hand at this event. But it's just a great way to highlight, again, National Mentoring Month, which is, again, a national initiative that even Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America is like really, recognizing and highlighting this month, but also trying to make it where it's a local thing, where we're talking about it local, trying to highlight the work of other mentoring agencies and organizations in the community as well.
How does someone sign up? Is it on Eventbrite? They go to the website?
It's an Eventbrite link. If they actually go to our website, which I will spell out BBB, so 3 B's and then S, so Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Southeast, .org. We can put that link, somewhere where they can click it. If they go to our website, they'll actually then be able to get a link directly to the Eventbrite and then register.
So we have the website on the screen there. For those who and there's the community engagement person, their phone number, their email. So there's no excuse if you want to sign up. There's the website. There's a phone number to contact someone. Email there. Sherry Colad, the community engagement person. And so, yes, we want to make sure everyone goes to that. And that's at the Durfee Innovation Society, located at 2470 Collingwood Street in Detroit, formerly Central High School.
It's next to
Central.
So it's actually, it's the formal elementary school.
The formal Central Elementary School. Okay, so it's next to Central High School. Durfee Innovation Society. I've been there to a few.
I was gonna say a lot of people probably familiar with it. So basically, Life Remodel, so they turned it into
Life Remodel,
for other nonprofits. So that's where our Detroit office is based out.
The Detroit office is there. Okay, and it's January the 28th, 8 to 10:30. Light breakfast, speakers.
The panel discussion, and then we'll kind of.
Who was this for? Who's the ideal person who should show up at this event?
It's open to, again, our target demographic that we're really trying to hone in on is, again, BIPOC men. So we are any BIPOC men out there that are listening, please share it. One of the speakers is a part of the Alphas. So we're working with even fraternities, even some sororities to just really try to hone in on where are those volunteers at? To your point of like seeing kind of this decline and then people kind of staying at home, where are people already showing up and doing, community service and community work? So we're trying to tap into some of those networks, but this is for any individual who's looking to just learn more about what we do and again, how they could get involved in any way. We also have ways, like we call it big for a day. So
Okay.
if someone comes and says, hey, I can't really commit, because we do ask for at least a minimum of 1 year commitment with our bigs, just because, again, you can't really start building a good relationship less than a year. So we ask for at least 1 year, but some, individuals come and they know I can't dedicate myself for a couple hours a month for a full year, but I can be a big for, if you have an event going on, I can be a big for that 1 day. So we do have ways to give being a big for a day and different ways, again, that you can give some of your time. So just, I would say anyone that's interested or curious, come to this event on the 28th over at Durfee and just learn more about what we do.
Make sure you guys come. 28th. You kind of touched a little bit about the 1 year commitment. What are some other, because when I learned about it, because I'm interested in being a mentor, there's different, there's the site-based mentorship where you go to the school, and then there's off-site where you spend time on activities. Kind of tell our audience what's the difference and what's the commitment as far as hours per week or month or how it goes.
And so it varies, but to your point, yes, we have several site-based programs. So those typically happen at a site, or typically in a school is primarily where those happen right now. There was one site-based program that we actually were doing with Ally, and so that's still ongoing, but that is linked with Purging High School.
Okay.
And so we would literally bus the students to Ally, and they would be basically partnered with a professional individual that says, hey, yep, I got, an hour or 2 a week to dedicate to this program. They come for literally just a couple hours. They have lunch. They get a chance to meet with this professional, see the office downtown Detroit, and it gets them kind of out of the high school and into a different environment. So that's one of our site-based programs. And then there are site-based where we're doing it right at the school, during their lunch hour. We're just bringing in, volunteers. So yes, there's ways to just give of that time where it's, again, a couple hours that week where you just go to a specific site in our part of, and then we have our community base, which is our larger, I would say, population, where we have more of our littles coming through that way. And that's done where you just sign up and you say, okay, we're going to set a time. Maybe it's typically a Saturday, where a couple hours on a Saturday, maybe once or twice a month, you're meeting with that little, and you all are going.
That's at school?
This would be the community base. So this would be kind of what you and the little deem to be the best way to have that relationship. So it's kind of like, you could say, hey, we're going to go grab lunch, or we're going to go to a park, we're going to go to a sporting event together. But that's kind of, you have a little bit more liberty and flexibility with that route if you go our community base. And I would say, it's a greater population that does that. Typically, when we're doing our site-based programs, we are working with the corporate partner, and the volunteers kind of come through their organization. So there are a couple of.
I'm understanding that you guys have lunch at one of the schools in this area.
There are a few, Hope of Detroit.
Hope of Detroit.
That game.
So you go during a lunch hour, or how does it?
Yep. So we will basically go during the lunch hour, a couple hours. So typically 11 to maybe like 12:30. We're going to.
Now, is that twice a month, or?
And that typically is actually weekly.
Oh, that's weekly.
Yeah. So that's why that commitment is actually sometimes ends up being a little bit more, because it's every week. But again, we're partnering with those who have that flexibility. To navigate that more.
All right.
Yeah. So that's why it varies though based on the program and what we're trying to offer. But typically with that, we have set curriculum that we're kind of navigating through different things that we're workshopping in those site-based sessions. And so it does look a little different from the community-based.
Okay. All right. And there's a year commitment to.
Yes. We ask for a minimum, at least.
Minimum year commitment. Okay. Wow, that's great.
Yeah. We would love to have you, Charlie, to be a mentor.
Yes, I'm definitely interested in seeing how I can make an impact.
Yeah.
There was another. I want to make sure we cover another event. I think in March is like a fundraiser.
Yes. This is an event that we did a couple years ago in Detroit, and we haven't done it in a few years. So it was actually going to happen last November. And we say, to really have the impact that we want to have, we want to kind of push it out to get more time to prepare. And so it's called the Great Big Auction, where it's basically a silent auction that will have different items that will auction off. And what we have are kind of community champions who have stepped up and said, hey, I'm going to be a champion and I'm going to work to get certain people in the room that can help us. So this really is a fundraiser. This is, an event you want to, buy a ticket, come to. And then again, hopefully those that are coming know that it's an auction and they'll kind of help us raise even more funds at this event. But that's going to be happening in March. And again, it's a great big auction. It's on our website as well if you want more information, over at the Cambria Hotel, downtown Detroit. And so I'm excited. I've actually not been into that hotel just yet. I know it's one of the newer, one of the newer hotels. And I've seen a lot of events there. So I'm looking forward to that in March. But yeah, if you're curious about getting involved, if you want to maybe be one of those champions and you're a good networker, you know how to get some people to an event, we'll take that support as well, because I tell everyone we are a volunteer and donor based organization, which means if we don't have the volunteers and we don't have the donors, we can't do the work. And so we need both. So while we have a deficit right now with our volunteers, we also need to make sure that we're keeping the funds coming in as well to operate. So it's either your time that you can dedicate to being a volunteer, or you got some treasure and you're willing to donate. We'll take that as well.
Wow. So what would you say? I know you kind of touched on it. What is the biggest need for this, just the need to match those kids? Or
that's our greatest need. I mean, like I said, we've got some young people who have been on that wait list for a couple years now, right? And that's pretty hard to give them insight as to the why, right? Because that's the biggest question they have, like, why haven't I been matched? And a lot of times what we see is that maybe an older sibling has been matched. And so they're seeing their sibling go through this program. And they're like, I want that. I need that. So I think that's what sometimes is the hardest thing, even for the parents to grapple with. It's like, how do they explain to their young kid, hey, you've done everything you were supposed to do. We're just waiting to get a volunteer who we can match you with to, get you in the program and get you going. So what we've started to do is we do what we call like group events and enhancements, where we try to wrap our arms around what we call our wait list. So that are on the wait list that don't have the big, and what things could we do to get them, involved and get them kind of acquainted with big brothers, big sisters, but they don't have that formal mentor in the relationship piece. But there's still, maybe there's certain group events or activities that we can do. And so we've seen success with that. But yeah, our biggest need right now is volunteers to go. So we can not, again, when you think about it, we service 4 counties. So we service Wayne, Washtenaw, Oakland, and Macomb counties. And we really haven't even expanded or tapped into Oakland and Macomb the way that we hope to. But it's hard to do that when you're already dealing with a deficit of over 200. So it's like, until we really can knock into that 200 number and get that lower, it's going to be even hard to open up the program to other communities that are in need. And so I would just tell people to keep that in mind as well, is that this is a need that we know right now that we have. There's still a greater need that we haven't even been able to engage, because we got to get that deficit down. So that's our greatest need right now.
Okay. What's a way that we can be supportive?
Spread the word.
Spread the word.
Yep. So doing things like this. So shout out to Sherry, who you've been working with to even get us set up here. I know our CEO and president, Jennifer Spittler, will be with you in March. During, I believe it's like Women's National History Month, and she'll be sharing as well. But we are trying to just get the word out about who we are, what we do. We call it relevance, and get our reach out there, because we understand and know that the more we can share the impact of what we do, the more people will be willing to get involved to spread the word. But that's what we need, people to share on social media and really follow us and share and see the work that we do. A lot of times we get mixed up with Boys and Girls Club. A lot of people are like, we think it's all the same. And so we are trying to do a better job of telling our story and the work that we're doing, so people truly know Big Brothers, Big Sisters does this, and this is how I could be a part of it.
And we have on the screen again, I brought up the website. We got the community engagement contact person there. And so I hope that people can respond to this call of action. That there's a need. There's kids who are waiting to be matched. What would you say is the benefit from the person who's mentoring?
Oh yeah.
How and can you share some of your own stories about how you've been a mentor and how it benefited you?
Yeah, definitely. I think it benefits the mentor, I would say, if not equally, sometimes even more, because you get to see the impact of pouring into potential. I think when you think of the work that we do, again, if you only think of it from I'm going to help this young person who's in trouble, or I'm getting involved to go save this young person, you're going to leave that experience empty. But if you go into it with an asset frame mindset, saying that young person already have the potential inside of them, I'm going to help nurture it. I'm going to help, water those seeds and take care of it and see it blossom and grow. And I think when you take that approach and you get involved, that's where the fruit even comes into your life, right? Of the experiences that you have, you get to tell those stories to your family, your friends, about how that relationship is not only impacting that young person, but how it's impacting you. And like I shared earlier about, I'll never forget a mom who was like, I just want to get involved and be a mentor because my kids are all grown and going to college. And I'm not used to not having someone where I can check in on and how you're doing. And my older kids, they don't want me doing that anymore. And they're like, I need this so that I don't go crazy. So
I'm in that season now. My kids are college age and they kind of doing their thing.
Yeah. And that's awesome to see. But then some people are like, I still want to, give back and be involved in a young person's life in real time. And so I think people get involved, like I said earlier, for different reasons.
Right.
But when you can start to see that fruit in your own life, I think that's when it's like, okay, this isn't just for the young person. This is also for me.
Yeah. I kind of want to go specifically as we wrap things up, kind of what you're doing, because you've been impacted as a father, and how has that shaped your views on mentorship and just building a strong community? And I know you plus you don't mind sharing about what you've done with. I'm not sure all the details with. Is it Detroit Father? Was it Father?
Detroit Father. I often say, as I have it in my bio and all of that, I'm the founder of Detroit Father. Really, I would say Detroit Father found me. And the reason why I say that is, as much as, again, I have that entrepreneurial mindset, I never thought I would be an entrepreneur, as in having my own small business. And so basically, long story short, I moved to Detroit. I had a 2-year-old daughter at the time. My personal story and journey to fatherhood was that, again, I grew up without my father. Still really don't have a good relationship with him. And so I say I went from fatherless to fatherhood to father in the hood. And what that means really, really quick is that I was not only able to become a father after thinking I would never be one because of, again, me not having one. I grew up and was like, I'm not going to be a father. I don't want to reintroduce that pain to myself. I don't want to, if I'm not the best father, I don't want to put that pain on somebody else. So I never thought I was going to be a father. But long story short, I become a father. My daughter's 2, and we moved to Detroit. And I'm just going around Detroit, taking pictures with my daughter, posting them on social media, taking a video here and there, just showing my journey and my story. And unbeknownst to me, this is being seen by basically agencies who work for corporations that are targeting and trying to find what they were calling at that time dad influencers. So there was this whole movement of mom influencers, stay-at-home moms who are.
Is that similar to when they was doing with Kobe Bryant, called Dad Girl?
Yep. So that was part of that. Dad Girl was a big trend that came, but that actually was after this whole dad influencer movement. Dad influencer was first, of just trying to find dads, because you'll be shocked. There's a lot of stay-at-home dads who literally are the primary caretakers for their kids. And I didn't know this either. So once I got involved and I started meeting these dads, I was like, so you mean to tell me you stay at home with the kids and you're the main. And they were like, yep, my wife goes and works, or my partner goes and works, and I stay home. So all that to say, there were these agencies literally that they were tasked with combing through social media and finding these people who are posting consistently their dad journey. And that they wanted to take those individuals and say, hey, now how can you take your story and showcase, a Mountain Dew or a Dove men's bath soap? How can you integrate those brands with your story? And so my first kind of project, if you will, that I got was Procter & Gamble, parent company for Pampers. So the diaper company, they're hunting me down and they're reaching out to me and said, hey, we want you to work on this campaign we're doing called Love the Change. And so Love the Change was this movement in North America.
Did your post go viral? How did you get? I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, so it was a couple of things. And this is what people don't realize. A lot of influencers, it's not even about posts going viral. It's about you consistently sharing and posting. And again, this was back when Instagram was mainly just photos. This was before the whole reel. Now it's a whole different thing. But it was back when it was just photos. And so if you posted every day and you had an audience who engaged with your work, you could have maybe only a couple hundred followers. It wasn't about that. It was about, do you have an audience that whatever you post, people engage with?
Okay.
And so all that to say that's how Detroit Father started, because this agency reaches out and I'm thinking it's a scam. I'm like, Procter & Gamble is not reaching out to me. Right. This is a scam. And the lady for months is hunting me down. And finally I said, okay, I'll get on a call with you. We can talk about it. And Love the Change Challenge was basically adding baby changing stations to public men's restrooms. Okay. There was a law that changed in New York where they were like, every public restroom in the city of New York has to have a baby changing station. Right. Because a dad influencer who didn't go viral until he posted a photo of him changing his baby on the floor of a bathroom in the airport.
Right.
And he said, this is where I have to change my kid. But, moms get to go into, women get to go into the restroom and change their, kids on the changing table. And that's not always the case for dads.
That's true.
And so that post went viral around the world. And that's what started this campaign. And that was my first campaign. And they were like, you got to have a W-9. You got to have this. And I was like, I don't have any of that. I've just posted pictures. And that's how Detroit Father LLC started.
Oh,
yes.
That's awesome. That's an awesome story. I like that. All right. So I got on the slides here where people can connect with you. Mainly, there's LinkedIn, it's your bio there.
Is there other ways that people can connect what you're doing with Father Detroit or Detroit Father LLC, or anything you're doing with Big Brothers Big Sisters?
Yeah, we're doing a lot on the fatherhood side and on the Big Brothers Big Sisters side. So it's like sometimes hard to navigate it all. But I will say on the Detroit front, our website, DetroitFather.blog. Our main thing is our blog that we have, and then of course social media. We just rebranded our Instagram and our Facebook, so we now are the Dad Influencer. Because now I'm taking the approach to kind of help other dad influencers. A lot of dads are doing this, but they don't really know how to navigate it. Because I didn't know how to navigate it. You talk about contracts and you're talking about setting up briefing calls. I didn't know any of that stuff.
Is there space for I'm an empty nester dad?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's the brand, right? And that's what I do. I kind of help dads tell their stories wherever they are. So yeah, that's definitely a phase of fatherhood, right? That isn't tapped into. Another thing with Detroit Father that I've been getting into is we work with smaller nonprofits in the city of Detroit who are doing fatherhood work. So some of the work that we've done has been with the Detroit Parent Network and their fatherhood group. I work with COS Detroit and helping some of their fatherhood initiatives, and most recently been working with the Children's Center and 2x Focus, which is basically creating it's a third Thursday of the month fatherhood conversations. And so we meet over at the Hunt Street Station. It's an old fire station over on Gratiot on the third Thursday of the month at 5 p.m. And so doing a lot of work in the fatherhood space. And then also, again, daytime, I am, director of operations and innovation at Big Brothers Big Sisters. And so hopefully in the future, figuring out how we can tie some threads there. We have a what we call a Keep Connected Parent engagement initiative at Big Brothers Big Sisters, and I'm hoping to see how we can really get some more fathers involved in that in the future as well. So all the work for me is I try to make it all come full circle, and I think a lot of the work that I do is, again, I say I'm trying to build the future while also restoring the past, because I just feel like life is so full circle.
Wow. I like that. As we land the plane, I know you're here to push the as a call to action for mentors. Any closing things you want to share with our audience before we in our time together that you want them to respond to, and how they can be supportive of Big Brothers Big Sisters?
Yeah. Well, first, again, I want to thank you, Charlie, for having us on, and the work you're doing at the podcast. This is phenomenal. I would just say to all those, watching and who will later watch, just take a step back, evaluate where in your life you could potentially give, whether that is of your time, of being a big, or if that is your treasure, where, you have funds where you could really help us and support us. We are, trying to continue to do this work and grow and scale. We have hopes and goals of one day being able to serve 1,500 young people across those 4 counties. But to do that, we're going to need volunteers and we're going to need donations. And so I would just say, if there's any way that you could help us with, either of those 2 things, even if it's spreading the word, sharing this with, those in your network, it would greatly be appreciated as we continue to do this work that we've been able to do now, celebrating 120 years. So it's definitely impactful work that we've been doing, and we want to keep it going.
Okay. And we got the website. You can reach out to a community engagement manager if you are curious about being a mentor. Definitely you want to make sure you come to the event on January 28th at Dirt Free Innovation Society, and from 8 to 10:30?
I believe it kicks off at 8:30. 8:30 to 10. Yes.
8:30 to 10.
And we'll start the breakfast right at 8:30.
Okay.
It's going to be short, sweet, get you in and out. We're going to have a quick breakfast, and then we'll go right into the panel discussion, and then have space for, if there are questions that the audience has, we'll have time for that as well.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's episode 137. We want to thank our guests talking about mentoring, and we're celebrating. I don't know if people knew that January is National Mentoring Month, and there's a way where you can make an impact. So check out the website at Big Brothers Big Sisters and see how you can get involved, or just check on the people, the littles in your community. To see what's going on, and we can all have an impact. And remember, being a mentor is someone who has learned the way, has walked the way, and is ready to show the way. And you don't have to have all these special qualifications and certain careers. If you are a positive person and you're caring and compassionate, you can be a mentor. Yes, you can be a mentor. All right. So with that, if there's anything else, that I covered everything.
Covered everything. I appreciate it, Charlie. This was awesome.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Again.
Take care.
All right. So we'll see you guys next week with another podcast. We want to thank our guests. And again, don't be sure to check out the website. We'll have some information in the show notes after this episode. Just more information about the upcoming events. I'll make sure I put that in the description. And go and make an impact. And we need the big homies to check out on the little homies, all right? Big homies, check out on the little homies. Big hugs. Come on, let's go to the schools. There's 200 kids who are just ready to be matched with someone that can just check on them, share interests, play games, go doing activities, and just share life. And if you're looking for a way to make an impact, this is a great way to do that. All right. So thanks again. If you're finding value in what we're doing in this podcast, I just want to encourage you. Please like, subscribe, share with friends, trick the algorithm. We want those social media platforms to know that positive content matters too.
And so by you liking and sharing, making comments, that helps the algorithm know, hey, positive content is good too, not just we on here spilling the tea, as they say. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Just a little commercial, and we'll see you guys next week. Hey, Detroit. Are you a Detroit area small business owner, entrepreneur, leader of a nonprofit organization, or a business service provider? And are you looking for ways to share your product, service, or your programs with a local Detroit audience? Let us help you increase your reach by becoming an ad sponsor with the Detroit Metro Plug podcast powered by Empower You Ventures. Our weekly video podcast is a growing local feature on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn that focuses on local business and community news. This gives you a chance to connect with local Detroit customers or clients. We offer cost-effective ads to fit your needs. Click the link to learn more about our current ad specials. And remember, connections matter. This is Charlie the Plug with the Detroit Metro Plug podcast.
Black Leaders Detroit, they knew that during the pandemic, that Black businesses were going to be left out of any type of funding that the government gave, and they wanted to make sure that they were able to figure out how they could step up and help, because again, this is their community, and they want to make sure that their community is still here when this pandemic is over with. And the only way you can do that is by offering support to your community, and so they stepped up and they did that.
I've been telling everyone I know about Black Leaders Detroit. The things that they're doing is simply amazing. And they're taking care of business for the Black business owners.
It's $1 a week donation to keep this great thing moving. $1 a week keeps it popping. Black Leaders Detroit.
Hey everyone, this is Charlie the Plug, your host of the Detroit Metro Plug podcast, powered by Empower You Ventures. Don't forget to subscribe so you too can be a part of the biggest empowerment network on YouTube and Facebook. We bring you weekly interviews of Detroit difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship, community involvement, also reaction to business news and community news. This does not happen without your support. Thank you.